Hey everyone, welcome back to Room 237, and this is a video that I am very excited to do because I'm a huge fan of this subject, and some months ago I did a reaction video to the news, then I did a reaction video to a couple teasers, and this past week I was going to do a reaction video to 2 official trailers that were out, because I thought they were new, but they'd already been around for a few months. But I didn't have a chance to get to it. But I did just get Showtime, so now I can actually see the episodes as they air, and I will be reviewing each episode as they come out each week. There will be a spoiler warning, of course. So make sure you got plenty of plastic wrap and your trusty tools, because Dexter is back. Yes, the long-awaited, I mean, it was announced recently, but people have been wanting a follow-up or a true ending to Dexter since it did not end very well back in 2013. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Dexter. I mean, I have all the books, I have all 8 seasons. Actually, before I got so heavily into the Italian horror marathon, I was going to do a season-by-season review of Dexter, which is why I have them here. Maybe now that the show's going on, that's what I'll do. But even though I'm not a fan of season 8, which I'm not at all, I do like the very last scene. I like how it ended overall. Now, and of course, I've always wondered, are they ever going to go back to it? And since 2013, there's been talks of someday, maybe. Well, we finally got it this year. So there will be spoilers. If you have not finished the original 8-season show, stop watching right now, because I can't talk about the show at all without spoiling that. But go watch Dexter. So it's called Dexter New Blood. It does take place 10 years after the ending of the original series. It doesn't undo everything, or undo anything. I mean, a lot of shows will do that. Even with the season finale, when it kicks up again, they'll undo any craziness. Dexter never did that, for better or worse. But there are some good things behind this show. Original showrunner Clyde Phillips, who was with Dexter in the first 4 seasons, the best of the series, he's back as the showrunner. Of course, you got Michael C. Hall playing Dexter. It wasn't announced, and I did not know this until the trailer, but Jennifer Carpenter is back as Deb. She's kind of the new Harry. She's the sort of manifested conscience that he sees and talks to. But she's a bit more ominous, I'll feel, than Harry. But it is cool still. It's very surreal to see her like this after seeing her for 8 seasons like that. I know it ended with him in Oregon as a lumberjack. Here he's in the fictional town of Iron Lake, New York, and it is very interesting to see him in snowy climate. You get very used to seeing him in Miami, and I mean, the very opening scene is him running through the woods, overalls, him scraping snow off his windshield. I live in Maine. I know what that shit's like. It sucks. So it's very interesting. One thing I was very curious about as to what this would be like is the intro and the music. I don't know if an intro is something that they will do, because this one did not have an intro. It just kicked right in. And Dexter, all 8 seasons, has the exact same intro, no matter what status quo changes they made. But this, it didn't have an intro. The episode is called Cold Snap, which he's driving down the road. It's kind of like Zombieland. The words are in the environment. Like it's on the road, he drives through, then the snow blows away. Um, yeah, a lot of what you see in the two trailers is in this episode. Not all of it, but there's some great. I mean, it's still Dexter. Michael C. Hall has not missed a bit. um, he's still, but it has a very gloomy feeling, which I was expecting, and I actually really like. It fits. You know, it's got this very, where Miami's very vibrant. This is very muted looking, very somber, and there are some. There's some things I want to say before spoilers, but I don't really know how I can. Every idea in this show, in this first episode, I really liked. And if this is a sign of things to come or that it can only get better, this series is going to be a home run. And people always like to speculate. People like to say, I hope they make more. I hope they keep this going. They've already said, this is the ending. This is the true finale to Dexter. So, no matter how well it does, they're not going to do New Blood Season 2 or anything, which I'm okay with. As long as it ends very well, I'm okay with this 10-episode, 1-season deal. There's some mention of past characters, which I was kind of hoping for. One of the best, one of my favorite aspects that I think was very smart, what has to do with the voiceover narration. You know, what's going on inside his head. I'll save what I mean for when I get into spoilers, but there's a certain point when that comes in. And it's not really throughout the whole episode, really, up until the end. But the moment it kicks in is perfect. And, I mean, we see Dexter fitting in very well. He's dating the chief of police, named Angela. He's, you know, very respected and well known from fellow townspeople of all ages. He works at a game and tackle place, and we do see him still struggling. I mean, there was a part in one of the teasers where he looks in a window and he sees a knife, and he kind of looks at it, and it goes to black, and we do see him It's almost like a show about an alcoholic in a town full of triggers, which I think is very compelling. I mean, his morning routine is he just goes for a run. He goes for a run, picks up his hunting rifle, he sees this white deer, which is CGI. There is some CGI, which does not look very good. Even some of the effects, like, there is an effect where Deb shows her wound from the last episode as if it's fresh. That CGI is kind of shoddy. That's the biggest negative that I can give this show, is that some of the CGI is pretty wonky. If that's the only negative, then it's fucking solid. But, you know, we still see him struggle with, like, you know, when he sees blood. Like, when we see him in the show, some of it is kind of predictable. Again, this is all in the trailer. See him getting pulled over. You see he has his tool bag. It's like, oh, maybe they suspect something, but then the cop starts kissing him. It's his girlfriend. It's just a little thing they do. It is set up to be really serious, and it's kind of a gotcha. Or like it shows him sharpening some of his knives and cleavers, but it's because he's giving them to people that need it. Like the cleaver is a butcher, carving up a pig. And at first I thought, okay, this is how he gets his release. This is how he suppresses his urges as he's sharpening it. Not 100% the case. Maybe they'll go that route. But, as the guy's butchering the pig, blood's going everywhere, and you see him kind of struggle with it. Also, the point of this episode is there's a couple things that... Oh, he's going by Jim Lindsay, which I think is a reference to Jeff Lindsay, the author and original creator of Dexter. There's two people that come into this, or not really come into the town, but are in this town at this point that really help bring the Dexter out in Jim Lindsay. One of which is a local. He's a known troublemaker, but, like in the original series, when he hears people are guilty of murder or manslaughter, and you can kind of see his gears turning, like he's plotting. Here's like a trigger. He hears about certain things that someone did, and it's like he's trying to shake it off. I thought that, the way everything's like a trigger to him, I thought was a very interesting angle. The other one, it is in the trailer, but I'll save it for spoilers anyway. And yeah, I thought it was just a very well-written, well-acted, great introduction. There is this plot that I think is going to grow bigger over the course of the series, that young girls are going missing. And then the last, certainly like the third act of this episode was just... It's almost like when you have a very close friend or a best friend, you go forever without seeing or speaking, but then when you get back together, it's like nothing's changed. The last few minutes of this episode was like that. Kind of a big hint, but I loved this episode. It's mostly getting a feel of the environment and the characters and the relationships, but I definitely like the direction it's going, and I cannot wait for the rest of the episodes. So there really wasn't too much to say. It just shows, him going to work, him going home. He sees Deb a couple times. It is different than Harry, because he'll be having a conversation with her, and then it'll just cut to her being gone. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say without getting into spoilers, so I'll get into spoilers now. But I loved this first episode, and the quality of it does feel like the first 4 seasons. I mean, I'm dying to know what happens next. It's great to see Hall back in this role. He hasn't missed a beat. I'm still processing it, and I love it. So I'm getting into spoilers now. So if you're watching this, hopefully you've already seen the episode, because I don't want to spoil it. But there is this guy named Matt Caldwell who we get that he's this huge spoiled brat. He's making a killing at Wall Street, and he's the one in the trailer that Dexter gives him the knife, and he does like all this stuff, and Dexter's like, whoa, I kind of have a thing with blood. There's a few of those in there too. Like, the humor, there is some humor there, but it's not quite as humorous as earlier seasons. Again, it has a very somber tone throughout the whole episode. Actually, I don't think there was much of a score, but one thing I did want to say before spoilers was it has the blood theme. It does have the blood theme during the end credits, and I like the look of the end credits too. But so this, and he wants to buy a hunting rifle. This guy, Caldwell guy, but he wants to buy an assault rifle to show up his friend. Now, and there's a scene where he goes to the police department to see Angela and people there talking about Caldwell. Oh, because his profile was, you know, during the background check for purchasing it, it's on hold. And I thought, because there are scenes like where Dexter watches him go away and he kind of turns the laptop around, does some things. I thought he was kind of going to make it look like it's on hold because he doesn't trust him. He's not quite in vigilante mode yet. But they're talking about how there's this horrible accident via boat that killed 5 people. Caldwell wasn't driving. But while this information's being thrown around, Dexter's just like, can we talk about something else? He goes to deliver this assault rifle to Caldwell, and there's a party. And his friend that's there, he's doing coke, and this is a phenomenal actor. He knows how to act coked out. His life has been screwed since the accident because he took the fall for the crash. Caldwell was driving. He was playing chicken, and when the guy turned, he turned into him and crashed. So that's what gives Dexter that extra push. Like, okay, there's a guy. He is guilty of causing the deaths of people. No remorse. And people use the term, like when people are talking about him and background checks, they keep saying, people fall through the cracks and people go unseen, and that's like a trigger to him as well. And on the third time, because the third or fourth time, cause we see him doing his morning run through the woods, seeing the white deer. He sees it as very beautiful. He says, beautiful. And it's this big white buck. He goes to approach it, and then it's shot right in front of him, blood on the face, and it's Caldwell. And that's when he finally, hits him with the butt of his own rifle right in the face, knocks him out. And that, probably about 45 minutes into the episode, that's when we get the voiceover. We've had almost a whole episode without it. And I was starting to think, are we going to get that this time around, or are they really going for something different? But then, right after he did that, we hear, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. Then the music kind of kicks in. It shows him setting up, kind of setting the stage almost for how he can make it look however he needs to. And we get the voiceover. So it's like when Killer Dexter, when Dexter comes out, there's voiceover. They waited till that moment. I thought that was perfect. Then we see him set up his kill room in his shed. Of course, it's been 10 years, so he had to use the plastic from his greenhouse. He's got them all taped to the table and everything. He breaks some glass to make a new blood slide, which I don't think he'll end up doing because he does make a point of, I don't need trophies anymore. And he's about as angry as when he found out Miguel from season 3 had been lying to him. And it plays off really well. Just this urge has been building up and suppressing for 10 years that he is unleashing on this guy, yelling at him to confess and, own up to it. And then when he finally stabs him, it's like this, 10-year buildup just released. I thought it was, built up, pun intended, executed and acted so well. Oh, and also just kind of the banter back and forth, when the guy's trying to make excuses and he's doing the Dexter, really? You're gonna chalk it up to that? Or when he's like, see, so you don't have to kill me. He's like, kind of past the point of no return on that one. And then the other thing, so we see Dexter kill, and he does talk about how he's a bit rusty. But also in the trailer, we see there's this young kid, this teenager in his house, and he asks, "Are you Dexter Morgan? It's me, your son." And in the trailer, he's like, "Harrison." It looks like he's gonna go embrace him. In the show, in the episode, Deb appears in front of him and says, "You can't. You can't let him know who you are." The whole reason why you did this because, so they'll be away from you, so they'll be safe. And she even mentions Dokes, Rita, LaGuardia. Then she lifts up her shirt, shows her wound. She takes the bullet out. She's like, "Me." And I will say, Jennifer Carpenter has aged a bit. I mean, she still looks great, but you can definitely tell 10 years have gone by. Hall, on the other hand, for 50, he doesn't really look like he's aged much. His hair's a little bit shorter. And I don't know if they dyed his hair, but his hair seems darker. So if they dyed it to show that he's been in this darker, snowier climate, that's a cool detail. So he tells Harrison, "I'm not who you think I am. Here's some money. Go down to the bus station. I wish you luck." But he sees that Harrison's already found a picture of him holding him as a baby. So he knows he's bullshitting him. So then after he kills Caldwell, that's when he is starting to embrace who he is. And he goes to meet Harrison at the station. He picks him up, takes him home, and it ends with, blood in the snow around his property, like where he was disposing of the body. I guess to show that he has forgotten a bit of his forensics background, which is one thing because Dexter is the show that made my dream job be a blood spatter analyst. I even have the textbooks and I studied it for a few years. I just never went to school. So it is kind of like, because he had this awesome job. Now he's working at a game and tackle place. Which, he's also bringing donuts to people, which I noticed in the trailer, but I still think it's awesome. And so, yeah, it ends there and pretty much ends with him saying, like, "Yes, I am Dexter Morgan." He's killed. He now has his son back, so to speak. And in the preview for the next one, we see that Caldwell's dad, played by Clancy Brown, is pretty much pulling this Lundy-sized, investigation to find his son, because he's a super rich, powerful guy. They're going to set up, base camp for the investigation in his house. It shows him having the inner struggle and arguments with Deb about killing again, and Harrison, having Harrison with him. And he even says, "My father kept me alive, and gave me a good life. That's what I need to do for him." So, it's showing that he did build this great normal life, but with all these triggers, and they finally came out. And the next episode is called Storm of Fuck, but I can't wait. I love the look of it. I mean, it really captures just this dreary, just muted sort of atmosphere, this glum atmosphere. It had just enough of the original show. It had just what it needed. It had the blood theme at the end. They held off on the voiceover narration up until he decided to kill, and he finally came out. We get those same camera angles, like looking up at Dexter as he's looking down at the person on the table. He did cut the right cheek, for the slide. I'm so excited for this. It was actually better than I expected. I was not expecting him to kill in the first episode. I thought it was going to be a big build-up. It was a build-up, but I thought it was going to be a few episodes. I can't wait. Well worth the wait. I'm so excited to see where it goes. If anyone has been doing some hardcore research and knows what's gonna, don't comment any spoilers, please. Just for those who haven't seen it yet. Just comment if you liked it or not. Don't say anything that happened or anything. But I loved it. Can't wait for episode 2, and I'll have a review for that as well. But so yeah, I gotta go set some plastic up.